So, with that being said, I want to move on to COVID 1984 and the fact that things are escalating and escalating and escalating and escalating on an ever-growing and concerning level on just about everything via COVID 1984. Now, the first thing we're going to play is this clip here that's showing that this response is getting more and more and more authoritarian throughout the world, and especially first world nations. And everybody jokes about the internment camps and relocation centers. Well, guess what, guys? They're a reality. They're a real uncomfortable reality for something that is extremely treatable, that we know that steroids work on, right? The dextromethasone, that's an approved authoritarian treatment. I call it authoritarian because those are authoritative sources, but other people, other doctors have talked about budesonide and other steroids. Okay, just like remdesivir is an approved treatment that's out there for thousands of dollars. Some people prescribe HCQ. Okay, it's now widely accepted that vitamin C and vitamin D are good for your immune system and help fight any infection. We could continue, okay? But we don't want to get crazy. We don't want to get censored like America's first doctors. Of course, we won't if you're watching this over on Rockfin. So let's play the clip.
As part of our overall national response to this new outbreak, I am now directing medical officers of health that all cases, confirmed cases, are to be managed in a quarantine facility. Now, this is different to how positive cases were managed when we were last at levels 4 and indeed 3, and shows how serious we are about limiting any risk of ongoing transmission, even in self-isolation and including to others in the household. This will apply to any cases and also close family members who might be at risk as appropriate. A reminder, these facilities have been set up specifically and have excellent processes and resources in place to look after people with COVID-19, including health staff on site at all times, and it will help us avoid any further inadvertent spread into the community as part of our overall response.
Nonsense.
If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive. You either get your tests done and make sure you're cleared, or we will keep you in a facility longer. So I think most people will look at that and say, I'll take the test. I've got a number of questions about people refuse. What do we do if someone refuses to be tested? Well, they can't now. If someone refuses in our facilities to be tested, they have to keep staying. So they won't be able to leave after 14 days. They have to stay on for another 14 days. So it's a pretty good incentive.
But keep fooling yourself. And I want to show you how they're treating Florida moms who dare stand up against the madness, who dare stand up against the brainwashing, who dare to say, my child doesn't need to wear a mask and I don't need to wear a mask. You know what they do? They get drug out and removed by police for not wearing masks. This is where we're at, guys. This is the reality. I mean, one with a baby in her arm. This is nuts. This is nuts. Okay? 100% nuts. These police officers should be ashamed of themselves. Honestly, what they should have done is defended these women's rights and said, look, these executive orders, they're not constitutional. This is a public school. I don't care about your Johnny nonsense with your masks. Instead, no, we're going to drag them out.
Hi. This is what... Oh, excuse me. No. I'm not going out there. No, you are not. Arrest me. Go ahead. But I don't want to make What do you need here? What?
This is outrageous. This is outrageous.
Hey, do you want me to get them? Covering my butt. Thank you very much.
Come here, baby. Go this way.
When you go inside without a mask on, they put you on the ground. I'm laying on the ground. I'm going to try to get that in. That's what I was trying to do. They were not letting people in to get the children. I'm going to get you, please. testing me. That's so nice of them.
It's not. It's ridiculous. And again, you know, these women, I'm glad, you know, it didn't get violent, but police force against, you know, women who dare stand up to the Orwellian authoritarianism of COVID 1984 for their children. This is what we're doing to them. Remember, you know, Florida is one of the more open states, and these restrictions are still going on. Realize that.
Do you want me to? Don't put your hands on me. Please don't put your hands on me. Please. I will leave. Please do not put your hands on me.
Okay, you're not leaving. You're not leaving. Go ahead and leave.
Can you stop?
All right.
Don't touch her while she holds my baby.
Okay, now.
Touch you guys.
Okay.
What is wrong with you?
Okay, come on, ma'am. Let's go.
There's a dog bag here trying to get everything.
And you know what? The school board's sitting up with her.
With so much love and light that your heart feels, and you don't have to attack people. What is wrong with you?
All of this for a mask. All these because you
These
guys are
are
sheep.
babies.
You guys are sheep. You're doing exactly what they say. You guys are a bunch of sheep.
Yep. They sure are. They sure are. And shame on anybody in that council up there with their fucking plexiglass and their fucking masks for not speaking up and saying this is crazy. Period. That's the reality. Turns my fucking stomach. Turns it, guys. And remember, we were talking about an automation nation. We were talking about a track trace database society. We were talking about transhumanism. The wristband that tells you what food to buy based on your DNA from the World Economic Forum, from the Davos crowd, from the globalists. We want your DNA. We're going to tell you how to live. We're going to tell you what foods. Listen, we already know what foods are good for essentially everybody. Yes, there are exceptions. Yes, there are people that are allergic to nuts, for instance. We're all a little bit different. But for the most part, people know how to eat healthy. They don't need global governance via some technological wonderment and wristband based on your DNA to tell you what to eat. And that's why I'm including this in this little, you know, COVID 1984 agenda, because that's what it is. That is what it is. When an undiagnosed rare genetic disease caused his young son's kidneys to fail, Professor Chris Tomazu vowed to find a way of uncovering hidden health risks. Again, the invisible enemy of COVID 1984, and now the hidden health risks of your genetic makeup, of your DNA, of your undiagnosed risks. The professor of biomedical engineering realized that although his son's condition could not have been prevented, the family could have managed his lifestyle very differently had they known about his condition. So he embarked on a mission to help people change their lifestyles and avoid getting sick. Yes, people like Bill Gates and Oprah, they're so worried about us getting sick that instead of programs in, you know, Africa, for instance, Mr. Gates, of running water, villages, electricity, you know, proper housing, cleaning up their sewage system, you know, if they have one to begin with, we'll just give them shots in the arm. They're so concerned. They're so concerned about child trafficking and abuse. Oprah doesn't even mention the laptop and lets Joe Biden just say, Hunter's the smartest person I know. But you get a car, and you get a car, and you get a car. That's what people remember. That's what people remember. And again, everybody's trying to help. Okay? But you know, we're gonna need to get your DNA. By analyzing the part of your genetic code determining susceptibility to nutrition-related health conditions like diabetes, DNA Nudge tells you which foods are best for you and what you should avoid. Hey, again, we already know that, whether you're a pre-diabetic or not. But that's not how they're selling it, okay? This is the big elephant in the room. Has COVID killed off the flu? Experts pose the intriguing question as influenza cases nosedive by 98% across the globe. And, you know, a lot of you out there were extremely critical of me in the beginning of the COVID 1984 nonsense for me to say COVID-19 which was real, and I still believe is real, that it is different from the flu. And I do believe that because when you look at what it does to somebody's lungs in some cases, the cystic fibrosis, when you look at the infertility afterwards, I think those are real things. Okay? I think the HIV insert that the Nobel Prize winner talked about is real. But I do think they've lumped in a lot of this on purpose to up the fear factor, especially when people figured out it was highly treatable. Okay? But you need to read this. It was feared by many to be the perfect storm, a nightmare situation that would push our health service over the edge. The twindemic of flu, which kills about 10,000 Britons every year, and a second deadly wave of COVID-19. Such was the concern that the government rolled out the biggest flu vaccination program in British history. Disgusting. 30 million people, 20% more than normal, and now including all over 50s are eligible for this year's jab. Gross. Take up the vaccine is already the highest it's been in the over 65s and young children, according to the latest reports. Probably due to fear. There's just one curious problem. Flu, it seems, has all but vanished. You notice this isn't in the headlines anywhere? Anywhere? The disappearing act began as COVID-19 rolled in towards the end of the flu season in March. And just how swiftly rates have plummeted can be observed in surveillance data collected by the World Health Organization. You know, the authoritarians. And I want to play this video right here. Okay? Patients aren't routinely tested for flu, even if it's suspected, but a number of sentinel GP surgeries and hospitals do carry out diagnostic screening on those who have symptoms, and this data gives us a more accurate picture of how much flu is in circulation. And the figures provide a startling insight into what has become a creeping trend across the world. Yes, that they're, reimagining not just education, not reimagining the new normal. They're reimagining the flu as COVID-19 84.
And maybe it's due to these measures that in the Southern Hemisphere during their influenza season, actually, they saw a very limited flu transmission. It was unexpected and very surprising, but literally there was nearly no flu this year in the Southern Hemisphere. So we hope that the situation will be the same in the Northern Hemisphere, and hope that the precautionary measures really are also good for preventing flu as well. Thank you.
You know what? I'm going to play it a little bit louder. Hopefully we're going to get it a little bit louder because I think that was important for those that did not hear it. Let's pump it up. So right here again, let's hear it again. She's saying flu has all but disappeared.
And maybe it's due to these measures that in the Southern Hemisphere during their influenza season, actually, they saw a very limited flu transmission. It was unexpected and very surprising, but literally there was nearly no flu this year in the Southern Hemisphere. So we hope that the situation will be the same in the Northern Hemisphere, and hope that the precautionary measures really are also good for preventing flu as well. Thank you.
So there you go. There, you can believe what you want, but that certainly has me asking questions. And why isn't that headlines all over? That's a World Health Organization official. That's the WHO, baby. So guys, I think that's going to wrap it up for today. We did 50 plus minutes over here exclusively at Rokfin. Make sure that you're telling your friends, your family about this platform, because if they kick me off of YouTube, this is the only place that I'm going to be. Okay, this is the only place where you're going to be able to find me. And again, we do it for free, while it's live, and then we turn it to premium. So if you want to become a premium subscriber, that is a great way to support me. I also want to let people know about the GoFundMe. This is how we really do it. $5, $10, $15. Big donors. You mean the world to me. It's how I'm able to go live several times a day. It's how I'm able to bring you guys the truth. It's how I'm able to take care of a computer issue and get myself back up and running in a couple days. It's all through your support. So I want to thank those out there. Make sure you are checking me out on YouTube, thumbing those videos up as well. And then, of course, Rokfin, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Come join the fun live, because it's not about right or left. It's about right and wrong. I love you guys, and I will see you on the flip side.